Nrtc Program Information for Business Entities. I'm Susan Catlett, an Nrtc Program Manager. We'll begin with an overview of the Nrtc program. Nonprofit organizations create extensive, detailed revitalization plans for neighborhoods across the state. The nonprofits work with residents, municipalities, local businesses, and other stakeholders to create a plan that will achieve a shared vision. Once that neighborhood plan is approved by DCA, that organization is eligible to apply for annual project grants for the neighborhood. Each fiscal year, successful grant applications are entered into the Qualified Projects Pool, or QPP. Business entities select projects for funding from the QPP through the application process we'll learn more about later in this presentation. Businesses with successful applications remit funds to DCA, and in exchange, DCA issues New Jersey State tax credit certificates in the amount of the contributions. DCA then makes the designated funds available to the nonprofit organizations to carry out their revitalization plans. This year, $15 million in tax credits are available. Tax credits are awarded dollar for dollar, 100% tax credit for funds contributed. The tax credit certificate issued may be used for the current calendar year's state tax liability only. Across the state, projects including job training, housing construction and repair, youth programs, home ownership education, local business development, and much more have been funded by the New Jersey business community through contributions to Nrtc. This program is open to all businesses active in the state of New Jersey with a New Jersey state tax liability for the current calendar year. Most businesses apply credits to the taxes listed here on the slide. For information about other taxes, please refer to the Nrtc program rules, which are found on the Nrtc website. Regarding gross income tax liability situations, the certain applicants referenced on the previous slide would be partnerships, LLCs, and S corporations. You will find on page 4 of our application there is an additional information form that's only for these applicants. We will need the name, tax ID, and percentage of the tax credit for each shareholder or member. We will issue separate tax certificates, but they will be mailed to the one person listed as the contact. Applications will be available on the Nrtc website in conjunction with the announcement of the Qualified Projects Pool. A maximum of $1 million and a minimum of $25,000 in tax credits may be requested per state fiscal year. We ask that a minimum of 3 projects are designated for funding, and this is in case the first choice or even the second choice has received full funding by the time the application is processed. There are more details about the designation of funds on the next slide and also in the guide document for tax credits for business entities available on the website. The application may be signed electronically or printed, signed in ink, and scanned. The application is submitted by email. For previous participants, you'll be happy to know there is no need to send us the signed hard copy by mail. You'll notice that we emphasize that applications are processed in the order they are received. Although no application is guaranteed to be successful, the first applications that come in have the best chance of being accepted into the program and of funding first choice projects. As we process applications, Some projects chosen may become fully funded by other contributors, which is why we ask for at least 3 projects to be listed. We encourage you to list more than 3 to have the best chance of receiving the total amount of tax credits for which you are applying. This is where over-designation from the previous slide comes in. An applicant applying for $1 million in tax credits could designate $950,000 each or any portion of that amount to 3 or more projects in order of preference. When the application is processed, if the first choice has been partially funded, we designate a portion of the funds and move down the list until the full $950,000 has been designated. If the first choice was already fully funded, we would just start with the next listed project that has not yet been fully funded and proceed down the list. If all choices listed are fully funded when an application is processed, we move on to the next application. It may be possible to make second choice designations, but that is contingent upon many factors and is in no way guaranteed. The takeaway here is the more choices listed and the more funds over designated increase the chances of a successful application because we have more flexibility in processing. As you can see on the slide, and you will see on the application form, 5% of the contributed funds will not be designated to a project. Those funds are used for the administration of the Nrtc program. After all the applications are processed and the designations have been finalized, we will be in touch with successful applicants to confirm the contribution amount and give remittance instructions. If the contact person for the application is not the person who should receive the tax credit certificate, please be sure to provide the correct person's information. This is so important because it is the original certificate we send by mail that must be filed with the tax return. In the past, we have had to replace tax credit certificates, which is something we'd like to avoid. If for any reason all or part of the tax credit cannot be used for the tax year it was issued, there will be no refunds of contributions and credits may not be carried over to another tax year. In addition to the benefits listed here on the slide, businesses investing in Nrtc projects are improving the quality of life for the communities they serve in the neighborhoods where they do business. After the nonprofit organization's project applications have been reviewed and scored and then approved by the commissioner and the qualified projects pool has been announced, the business entity application process begins. We will post a deadline by which applications must be received, but our experience has been that the qualified projects pool will close long before that deadline date. The application period actually ends when the program's allocated tax credits have been exhausted or all qualified projects have been funded. After application approval, we will contact businesses about remitting funds to DCA, which we request to be done electronically. The checks in the mail was never a good thing, and we've had payments that were delayed or lost in the mail. ACH is the way to go. We do understand many businesses prefer to remit funds before the calendar year ends, and we will work to accommodate those requests. After all funds have been received, tax credit certificates are prepared and mailed to our business entity investors. Again, it's very important those are mailed to the right person. Once grant awards have been finalized, and not before, we can reveal specific dollar amounts designated to projects. A list of grant awards and contributors will be eventually posted to the website. The documents I referred to, the Nrtc program rules and the guide document, are available on our website, which once announced is where you'll also find the qualified projects pool and the NRTC Business Entity Application. After reviewing the reference documents on our website, please contact me or my colleague Wendy Allard with any questions you might have. The best way to contact us will always be by email. I thank you for your time and attention to NRTC program information for business entities and for your interest in supporting the revitalization of New Jersey's NRTC neighborhoods.